Welcome to Win Online, your channel for educational videos. Today's video is very special because it is about our new product by the name of Focus English. Focus English is a comprehensive course for teaching English at secondary level. It comprises of two books, Book 1 and Book 2, for years 6 and 7, or for grades 6 and 7. In today's video, I will not only share the salient features of these books with you, but I will also share one complete lesson plan of Unit 1 from Book 1, which is meant for grade 6, along with the answer keys. So stay tuned and watch the video till the end. So, what are the features of this book? Focus English has got two comprehension passages in it. It has got poetry, grammar, and the context of the passages is also given. Some very elaborate grammatical exercises are also included in the at the end of every unit. The book is SLO based, so you will find all the SLOs at the beginning of the units. Pre-reading exercises are given at the beginning of every unit. The vocabulary is very extensive, and vocabulary along with its explanation is provided, and it is numbered. So when you are reading the text, you can look at the number and see the vocabulary word and then check out the meaning of that word. And this book is SNC approved. We have to look at some pre-teaching preparations that we need to do before teaching any unit. Number one is give it a good read. You should be able to read the unit beforehand so that you can understand the theme of the unit. And also, if there are any words that are new for you, or if there are any pronunciations that you are a bit iffy about, you can always reconfirm them either through the dictionary or through the internet or by asking a colleague. Do some research for teaching different concepts, since this book has a lot of new concepts in it and a lot of the questions that are given are open ended. So you need to do some research beforehand about the topic that you are teaching. Prepare resources like vocabulary flashcards, any audio resources, video resources, worksheets, and homework schedule. Integrate with other subject areas. There are many topics, almost all the topics in this book can be very easily integrated to other subject areas like Islamiyat, maths, social studies, science, even arts. So you have to look at the unit in advance and talk to the teachers of those subjects and see how you can work together with those teachers to teach this unit. Identify and arrange for cross curricular connections. Yes, there are activities given at the end of every chapter, every unit. These activity can be to arrange a debate, a poster competition, creative writing, project work. So you have to decide what are you going to do with the activity and how are you going to do it. Allocate realistic time frame. When I say realistic time frame, I mean that sometimes we tend to allocate the same number of days for every unit when we are doing scheme of work at the beginning of the year. It is not necessary that every unit will take the same amount of time. There are some units maybe that will take 15 days, there are others that might take 20 days, and there are others that will still take 12 days to complete. So by looking at the unit, by reading it, by doing the research, you can very clearly estimate the amount of time that is required for completing that unit. Cater for formative and summative assessment. Yes, the ongoing assessment, the formative one, and the assessment that will be done at the end of the unit. You need to decide that beforehand and stick to your schedule. We are starting with the first unit of Book 1, the Stories of Prophets. So, what are the resources that you need to gather for teaching this unit? Number one, what is the theme of this unit? The theme is inspirational stories from the lives of different prophets. What resources you require? You need to prepare a list of the vocabulary. The vocabulary is given in the unit, but write them on a big piece of paper and display them in the classroom till you have done the reading comprehension of that passage. The vocabulary should be displayed in the classroom till the reading comprehension passage is completed. I've also given you a link of one YouTube channel where you can find inspirational videos about the lives of prophets. This is just one link. You can do your own research and find any other useful audio video material that you can find on the internet. Pre-reading discussion questions should be prepared in advance. You cannot just go in the class and open the book and start asking random questions. Your questions should be constructed so carefully and so cleverly that they guide the students towards the topic. List of the words that classify as digraphs, blends, and chunks. Yes, this is one of the exercises in this unit, so you need to have this list ready. Tips for developing summary skills. In this unit, the students will be asked to write the main points of one of the passage, so you need to train them in how to write the summary of any passage. Audio clips of speeches of different leaders. When we will come to this part, I will explain to you what are you going to do. So this is unit 1 of book 1 for grade 6. So, day one. Day one is the day when you will introduce the topic, introduce the passage, you will do the pre reading exercise, and you will also introduce the vocabulary. So, the list of the vocabulary is given. This is given in the book as well. I have taken it straight from the book. What are you going to do? How are you going to start? You are going to do some brainstorming and ask the following questions from the students. Write the word inspirational on the board and ask the following questions from the students. What is your understanding of this word? And accept a variety of answers. Has anyone ever inspired you? If so, why? Have you ever inspired anyone? How? What personal qualities inspire you? How do the lives of prophets inspire us? So these questions will guide the students towards the topic. Excuse me. Now let the students write about any inspirational instance in their lives. They can use the space given on the book or use their rough journals. It's up to you. If you want them to use the rough journals, by all means, let them use the rough journals. If they're doing the work in their rough journals, please do not check it. Introduce vocabulary of the first part by reading out the words and their explanations. These are the words. You have to read every word and explain every word. The explanation is given in the book. You can also further simplify it and explain it to the students. This is day one. So what are we going to do in day 2? I have written all the steps that you will do in day 2 here. So number one thing is that you are going to show the following video as an introduction of the lesson. This video I have taken from the same channel. The link I have shared with you in the beginning in the resources, and this is about the story of Hazrat Suleiman. Then, after showing the video, drill the vocabulary by reading the words from 1 to 9 and explaining their meaning. Provide model reading with explanation in simple language. A model reading of the first page. Here I have mentioned that you will be reading page 4, and this model reading will be done by you. Ask students to look up for the stories of prophets and share any story with the class tomorrow. This is homework. This icon is for homework. So you are introducing the vocabulary, you are drilling the vocabulary, you are explaining the meanings, you are showing the video clip about Hazrat Suleiman, you are providing the model reading of page 4, and then you are giving a homework to the students to look up the stories from the life of any prophet and share it with the class tomorrow. So this is your day 2 of the lesson. Day 3, again, it is reading comprehension because reading comprehension has not been completed yet. So start the lesson by asking the students about homework and invite any 2 students to narrate any story of the prophets. Invite the students, do not push them. Those who are willing to share their homework, just invite those to share the homework. Revise the vocabulary by asking the students to read the list aloud and to explain the words in their own words. So you can ask the students to provide their own explanation. Ask any 2 good readers to read the previously taught page. So we are talking about page number 4. First, you provided the model reading. Now you're asking the students to provide it. Provide model reading of the second page, which is page number 5 of the unit, explaining and simplifying the story. Here I have written all this in steps. We are coming to day 4 of reading comprehension. So, in day 4, start the lesson by asking the students the following questions. Who was Hazrat Sulaiman Raziallah Ta'ala Anhu? What powers did Allah bestow upon him? What was the name of Hazrat Sulaiman's father? Share any inspirational story from Hazrat Sulaiman's life. Why are we doing this now at this stage? Because the students have read 2 pages of this passage and a lot of information is provided in these 2 pages. Hide the vocabulary list, say the word, and ask the students about their meanings. So now the students should be able at this stage to provide the meanings in their own words. Ask the students at random to read page 6 while you provide explanation for every sentence. Every student should read at least 4 lines. So randomly you ask the students to read aloud any 4 lines and then you provide the explanation. So now you are not providing any model reading, the students are reading it. Ask students to choose any 5 words from the vocabulary list and use them in sentences of their own. This should be done in homework copies. Again, this icon is for homework. So you have given a homework again using the same vocabulary list. We move on to day 5 of comprehension and we are doing the first part of comprehension. The students have now read the passage, they understand the meaning of the passage, they know the vocabulary words, and they are pretty much at ease now in doing these comprehension questions that are given at the end. Discuss the comprehension questions one by one with the students and encourage the students to find the answers using the text from the unit. Orally ask them about the answers. Please do not point out the answers to them, or do not ask them to like put the answers into brackets, or this and this sentence, put it in brackets and then write the answers. Encourage them to find the answers in the text and then reproduce the answer in their own words. Go over each question orally with the class, involving multiple students in the answering process. Bring a few dictionaries in the class and help students in doing part C. Part C requires the help of the dictionary. Homework is part A and part C, while part B will be done in the classwork copies. Because part D requires some detailed answers of the questions. And as you can see, the answer key is provided for part A, for part C, and here you will see the answers of part B. I have written all the answers of part B here, but first you will ask the students orally, and then if you wish, you can write these answers on the board. So this is day 5 for reading comprehension. We are tackling the first comprehension of this unit. Now we are coming to the second comprehension. This is day 6. The second comprehension is more open-ended, but I have given a few suggestions for the answers. This part also has some language skills. In the language skills, you are teaching the students what are digraphs, what are blends, what are silent letters, and what is short vowel sound. For doing the first part comprises of inference questions, where the students will use the information provided in the text to draw some conclusions. So the direct answers are not given in the text. The students are inferring. They are reading the text and then gathering the information. The questions are open-ended, which means that a variety of answers can be given as long as they are supported with logical arguments. All this should be done in the class. For the language skills part, I have provided you the key. And I have also provided some suggestions for the questions, for the open-ended questions. These are only suggestions. Any answers that are closer to the meaning of these answers should be accepted. In language skills, I have provided you the answer key, examples of digraphs, examples of blends, examples of short vowel sound, and silent letters. This brings us to day 7, and now we are looking at reading comprehension, second reading comprehension. And the second reading comprehension is about the last address of Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, how are you going to start this? Invite Islamiyat teacher from your school to give a brief account of the last address of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to the students. Focus on the details like when, where, and why was this address given. Encourage students to ask questions at the end of the briefing. So prepare the students in advance. Tell them that you are going to ask questions. Any questions that come in your mind, please ask from the Islamiyat teacher. Ask the students to take notes during the lesson and then ask them to write at least 5 main points of the last address of the Holy Prophet in their homework copies. Now, they haven't read the passage yet, but they're already prepared for it. And the homework is that they're going to write 5 main points of the last address of Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Excuse me. Day 8. Now you're going to introduce the vocabulary. Vocabulary is given. There are 8 words. There was a little numbering mistake. So number 4 is given twice. So this one is number 5. So total 8 words. Drill the vocabulary by reading the words from 1 to 8 and explaining their meanings. Provide model reading with explanation in simple language. Ask the students to read the passage silently for 5 minutes. So after the model reading, the students are going to do some silent reading. Divide the class into 2 groups. Ask one student from group A to read a few lines from the passage. Now ask group B to explain these lines in their own words and vice versa. So you're dividing the class into 2 groups. One group will read a few lines, the other group will explain it. And both the groups will get a chance of reading and explaining. Now, you are not providing the explanation, you are helping the students in understanding the passage by themselves. Day 9, this is again the comprehension exercises. Homework part A should be done as homework and part B should be done as classwork. So what is part A? It is simple fill in the blank exercise, but the blanks are not filled with one word here. You have to complete the sentence, so you will write more than one word. All these answers are in the text. Discuss the comprehension questions one by one with the students and encourage the students to find the answers using the text from the unit. Go over each question orally with the class, involving multiple students in the answering process. And I have also provided you the answer key of part A. Now we look at part B. More open-ended questions are given. Part B is more open-ended. Some suggestions are given for the answers, and accept the answers that are closer to the meanings of these suggestions. Because the students need to think. The students need to think by themselves, and the students need to come up with an answer. Doesn't matter how good or how bad their language is, you can always correct the language. You can always help them with the correct grammatical structure and with writing a correct answer. But the thought process should never stop. The student should be able to think by themselves. We come to day 10 and we are looking at comprehension passage 2. This comprehension is also open-ended, and here the students have to come up with the answers by themselves. I have not given any suggestions for this part. Please accept the answers that have a logical argument supporting them. We come to day 11, as I told you earlier, 2 comprehension passages and 1 poetry. So, according to the theme of this unit, there is 1 naat included in this chapter. So, the name of the naat is The Chosen One. What are you going to do? How are you going to start? Invite any student to recite a naat in the class. Any naat, not this one, any naat. Any good naat khan in the class, invite the person to read the naat. Generate a class discussion about this genre of poetry, like what is a naat? Ask the students the following questions. What do you think? Why do you think people write naats? What type of poetry is a naat? Is it a nazm? Is it a ghazal? Is it a free verse? Do you know the names of any famous Nath writers or any famous poets whose Naths have been very famous? Who is your favorite Nath? Huh? Also, right. Also, you can ask why. Recite and explain every verse of the Nath using the vocabulary. The vocabulary for this is also provided. You have to read every verse and then explain it to the students. At this stage, you can also do paraphrasing of the Nath. It is not required in the exercise, but if you have some extra time, you can utilize that in paraphrasing the Nath. On day 12, we are going to do the poem appreciation, and poem appreciation is included in every unit. So, in every unit, there are poems, and the students are going to read the poems, try to understand them, and then critically appraise the poems. So the questions are given on this side. I have provided you with the answer key. This should be done in the class or copy. Activity is work. This unit has the activity work in small groups. Find out various knots in different languages and read them out to the class. We will see in the next page how are we going to tackle the activity. So for the activity, what are you going to do? This activity can be done as a class project. Designate different languages to different groups and ask them to present their knots on beautiful charts. So maybe depending on your area, you can ask the students different groups: an English knot, an Urdu knot, a Farsi knot, a knot in Persian, a knot in Pashto, a knot in Punjabi, a knot in Sindhi, and then ask the students to write that knot on beautiful chart and present it to the class. Day 13. This is again in the exercise. It's an exercise about vocabulary. Bring a few dictionaries to the class, and some words are given and some options are given. Students have to choose the right option. I have provided you with the answer key. In grammar, the students are going to look at the article, the definite and indefinite article, and the whole explanation is provided. So you can use that explanation to explain what are definite and indefinite articles, and then they are going to fill in these spaces that are given here, and they will explain what type of article is used here. Now, as I told you earlier, that these books cater for all the four language skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So far, we were dealing with reading, writing, grammar. Now, there are some listening and speaking exercises given at the end. Number one listening exercise is listen to some famous speeches. Pay attention to the following. Does the speaker change the tempo of their voice? When do they do that? Are certain words and expressions repeated? What is the tone of the speech? Is it argumentative, persuasive, passionate, declarative? You need to explain all these words to the students. How are you going to do it? Bring a few recordings of speeches of Quaid-e-Azam, Nelson Mandela, and any other famous political or religious leader to the class, and let the students listen to them. It is a listening exercise. Choose some non-controversial personalities, so don't be too political, and because this will not serve the purpose. The students, their political affiliations with those people will overshadow their listening of the content. So don't bring the speeches of someone who is too political. Let the students listen intently and observe speech patterns. Discuss how the speakers use persuasive language. How do they stop? How do they speak? What are they doing to engage the listeners? Then the next part for the speaking is find out Martin Luther King's Jr. I Have a Dream speech. Read it out in front of the class, paying attention to stress patterns and intonation. Try to change it from its original. Now, that will be a little challenging. I have provided you the link of that speech. It's a very famous speech. And don't worry, it is like nothing that you cannot play in the classroom. So here is the link. You can use this link, play this speech, let the students listen to it and see how what are the stress patterns, how persuasive is the language, and you can challenge the students in changing the speech and maybe making their own speech on the same lines. Writing exercise is also given at the end, but this the students have already done. This part the students have already done in the beginning of the passage. Remember, in the beginning of the passage, after listening to their Islam art teachers, their homework was to write five main points from the last address of our Holy Prophet Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, according to this planning, this unit 1 takes 14 days. Now, in the day 15 and 16, you can arrange for a class test. You can do a creative writing competition. You can do the speeches in the class. You can use 2 more days and finish uh, the unit in a very creative way. Do not just end the unit when the exercises end. Provide a summary so that it is satisfactory for the students, and also they not only learn how to read and write English, but they also how to read, write, speak, or listen to English, but they also understand the core of the content that is given to the students. This presentation is available in PDF. Please write in comments if you want the PDF of this presentation. And again, this is Focus English for grade 6 and 7, book 1 and book 2, and all the units are formulated on the same pattern. That's all for today. Thank you so much. Stay tuned to the channel. Please subscribe to our channel, and please adopt this book because it's a wonderful, wonderful English teaching resource. Thank you so much.